Size and resolution mean two different things when it comes down to viewing something on a computer monitor and printing it out on paper. Have you ever tried to print an image from the internet or blow it up in Photoshop only to see that image degrade horribly so that it looks jagged and boxy? Well, that has a lot to do with the amount of information per inch called pixels. In a web graphic, 72 pixels per inch is going to look amazing on the computer. But that's not going to be enough information to make it look good on paper. Typically, when people print on paper, they're going to have 150 pixels per inch or 300. I'm going to now go to the image menu and show you something here. Image size. As you see, in this particular document, it says the width is 2048 pixels and the height is 1536. I'm going to go ahead and change this percent. As you see, it's 100% and 100% here. So for the actual viewing of this on the computer, if I were to go ahead and show this image at full size, let me go ahead and just press F on my keyboard so I can make this 100% here. This is how big it would be on the website, which is quite massive. Websites don't have screens that are 2000 by 2000 when the designer designs a page. But if you're going to print this out, we can see that the resolution is 72 pixels per inch, which means it may not look great on a magazine cover. Not enough information as far as pixels being next to each other for that to look good. Typically, when you print to the printer, you'll be printing 150 pixels per inch up to 300 and even 600 depending on the publication. The closer together those pixels are, as far as the ink on your printer, the better the image looks. Also, you'll notice here that the pixel dimension is different down here as far as inches. So on the computer, it looks at things as 2000 pixels wide, but when you print it out, it's going to be 28 inches wide by 21 inches high. So if I wanted to put this on paper, what I could do is make this 300 here, and I could say 8.5 by 11, for example, and that might look better. One problem by doing it here, though. If I change this number here, Photoshop then has to guess and interpolate to add missing information to fill up from 72 to 300. If you're going to print from Photoshop, it's a good idea to take high-res pictures from your camera so that the data is already there and Photoshop doesn't have to guess how to fill this number in. I guess another way to explain this is, let's say you took a radio or any kind of electronic device and you smashed it against the floor. And you were to take half of those components and throw it in the garbage. And then decide later on that you want to rebuild that radio. You have to pretty much guess what goes in that radio to rebuild it. Photoshop has to do the same thing. So instead of having all that information, it has to figure out how to fill that up to give you a radio again. So that is pretty much the difference between size and resolution in my typical roundabout way of explaining things. But hopefully it made some sense.